Jesse, Fox is in a tough spot. I mean, particularly someone like Kurtz, who wants to be transparent. He wants to be the media analyst, and yet it's clear that almost anything that he says about this case is being sent to legal first. Understandably so.
I don't disagree with it. This is a case about problems that were made by anchors on air. If they just give a full blanket, hey, listen, you could talk about it, they could get themselves into even more trouble. Anytime you have a case, generally speaking, your attorneys would say, don't speak about it.
I don't know. Jane, Jane, the New York Times has fought very hard in certain cases to be able to cover news about some case that they're involved in. Fox News taking a different tact here. Do you view it as controversial that Fox is not really covering this story?
Well, again, I think you're right, Jesse, that no doubt the lawyers are telling him better part of valor not to talk about it. But going back to journalistic ethical principles, how can you not cover a case like this? It calls into question all the integrity of this news network or entertainment network, whatever it is. And I think what you said earlier about whether viewers regard it as news or entertainment may be a topic of reasonable discussion. Famously, the late Rush Limbaugh always said, I'm not a journalist, I'm an entertainer, but ask his listeners what he was, and most of them thought he was a journalist. Are they responsible for that perception? Well, yes, they are in a way. And if it's going to call itself a news outlet, then I think it can't ignore this elephant in the room, which is this huge suit against them that goes to the very heart of their credibility, which supposedly is what they peddle to their viewers.
Let me play another piece of sound. This is Howard Kurtz laying out some of the legal standards here and what had happened in the case. This is number 12.
Legally, Dominion must prove Fox acted with malice or reckless disregard for the truth. There was, to be sure, straight reporting by the news division, which also caused some friction. But the fact that some people in the chain of command privately dismissed the fraud claims as nuts or outlandish or insane doesn't necessarily mean Fox couldn't cover and comment on the extremely newsworthy spectacle of a president saying an election was stolen. That's why this case is a major test of the First Amendment.
But that's not quite the way it went down, right? I mean, it's not like Fox they're not in trouble for covering it, right? I mean,
that was incredibly misleading.
Yeah.
It's not like they said, we're going to show you what Donald Trump's comments were about it. They were promoting it.
Yeah.
They were saying that this was taken, this was stolen, and questioning the value of Dominion. Now, remember what Dominion's saying. They lost profits, their reputation was hurt. I think there's a whole separate issue if they're actually going to get $1.6 billion.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that was misleading because it wasn't about just covering it, it was promoting it.
And Jane, this really does come down to a question you raised before, which is, does it have to be out of the mouth of one of the hosts? Meaning, just because they pick terrible guests to come on the show, who they have serious questions about what they're saying, are they really going to be held liable for what the crazy guests say, or is it just what the hosts say?
Well, I think as in everything else in the law, it depends. If you have Sidney Powell on once, I don't see how you can really get sued for that you can be held responsible for what she said. Lawyer to the president making allegations that were leading to multiple lawsuits around the country on the integrity of the election, how can you not report on that? I think that is easily defended. The question is, going down the road, as you get other information, do you continue to promote and endorse that point of view? And that, I think, is key in this case. And it's funny because I think oftentimes with other news organizations, we don't think so much about the issue of endorsement. But I think so many people regard Fox as basically having a very firm political viewpoint, not being neutral, not being independent. The issue of endorsement basically is saying we're adopting as true the allegations that you're making. We're not just reporting them because we think they're newsworthy, that they're important for people to know about. We're jumping on the bandwagon and going along for the ride.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.